All right, well, welcome to this webinar about essential oils for hormonal balance. I have some things prepared for you today that are pretty simple, but also a good overview of how essential oils work. I would love to hear from people here. Are you already using essential oils pretty skillfully? If so, like, what are your questions that you have for me today? If you're just getting started, you can say that. If you already have a doTERRA account, you can share that. Just gives me a better sense of where everyone's at. Usually we have a mix of people who are using oils and just craving more information, and then people who are just getting started and curious. So I try to give like a mix of beginner and more advanced. Lisa says, favorite oil is Balance and Clary Calm. Can't live without. I love it. Oh, I love hearing about people's favorite oils. That should be like my starter question. Amanda says, turmeric, cheer, Clary Calm sometimes, and others. She does have an account. Margaret says, uses essential oils for herself and her family, but interested in using them more fully with patients. I'm an acupuncturist and work in women's health. Oh, Margaret, what a perfect comment for me. So I started my career as an acupuncturist and I used some essential oils. I wasn't super knowledgeable. I just had like 5 that were like my go-tos. But people love them. As we'll talk about today, they very much affect your mood in a positive way. Often people are coming in, you know, from traffic and stress of the day, and they're coming like really ready to relax. So if you can help facilitate that, obviously it's awesome. Acupuncture is already going to facilitate that, but adding a layer to it where they get this aromatherapy that lowers cortisol, it's also a great way to build your business because people will want that experience again at home, and then it becomes a self-tool for them. So I'm talking to Margaret about doing it in a practice, but you can do this in your life, right? We're going to talk about creating self-care routines today because, that's really like where it's at, right? Like catching ourselves in the moment of stress or depression or whatever and shifting it. Great. So Kaylee said, Margaret, if you have more questions about the business part, you can reach out to me later too. Kaylee says, I joined doTERRA a year and a half ago. She has fertility issues she's working on because of her hormones, scattered periods that are light. Okay, thank you for sharing that, Kaylee. I will keep you in mind. Low hormone levels are common nowadays because of stress. Jeanette uses lavender. We're going to have lavender come up today. Lisa uses vetiver for sleeping. Also, we'll talk a little bit about different categories of oils today. Great. Okay. I don't see any other specific hormone questions right now, but you can ask them as we come up. One note is like, while I'm doing the slides, I can't really see the chat very well. So I'll probably just go through some content and then take questions towards the end. Oh, wow, we got a lot of people that have come on since we started. So welcome to Susan, Tracy, Trista, Rebecca, Penelope, Merle, Mary, Maria, Lorelei, if I'm saying that right, Kamal, Jeanette, Emmy, Denise, Deb, Colleen, Cinda, Carrie, Britton, Angela, Allison. Great. Thanks, everybody. Lisa said oils to lower cholesterol. We're going to talk about that. There's actually a whole bunch of oils that lower cholesterol. So you're using rosemary. I wouldn't say that would be my go-to because rosemary can actually help keep cortisol in circulation. Interestingly enough. Oh no, am I thinking of basil? Am I getting it mixed up? I have to go look that up. There's one oil that can keep cortisol in circulation. So that's sometimes what we need actually, because our cortisol can be low. It's not always too high, right? Okay, but we'll definitely talk about lowering cortisol oils today. Great, really appreciate everyone being here. How fun. Okay, let me start my slides. Whoops, this is not what I want. One second. That is the last slide. I'm on the first slide. And Tracy is asking about stress, insomnia, and mood stuff with oils. So great, we're going to cover all that. Oh, why does this keep happening and not being in presentation mode? One sec. I'm not sure why this isn't showing like presentation mode, but let me just try one last time and then I'll give up. Is it hiding somewhere? It's so funny, I just had this. Okay, I don't want to waste your time. So here we are, essential oils, hormone solution. So this presentation is kind of a mix of my own content and also my mentor, Dr. Marisa Snyder. So I'm going to share a little bit about myself and my own hormonal journey and journey with essential oils, and I'll share a little bit about her. So this is me. If you know, you've probably been in my community a bit, but if you're new to me, my name is Bridget Danner. I started my natural medicine career as an acupuncturist in 2004, and I worked in a yoga studio. Then I owned a multidisciplinary clinic for many years with naturopaths and chiropractors and massage therapists. And yeah, it was really a busy practice for me. I enjoyed it a lot, but I started to learn about functional medicine, health coaching, and online world, and I really became interested in it. It helped my own health a lot. So I, eventually moved my practice online, which is how you find me now. And yeah, I mentioned earlier that I used essential oils in my practice starting when I started my career in 2004. I just used a little bit. I don't think doTERRA was invented then. So I found doTERRA much later. But I just was like a giver. I really wanted clients to have a great experience, and having an experience where they're getting some sound and some touch and some, smell. It was just making, like, for me, better outcomes. So that's how I sort of got into essential oils. And then many years later, one of my clients actually was in doTERRA, and I bought my first two oils, which are actually two that you're going to see today. So I bought a Serenity and a Balance from her on her recommendation, and those were my first two oils. And I remember that, like, they were so strong smelling, and I didn't really know how to use them, and I just didn't really get it, right? It is an educational process with essential oils. So it takes some steps to, like, fully understand them and kind of get their profiles, and we'll learn more about them. Learn how to use them. You know how to use them in your daily life. So we'll cover that. So that was my first introduction to doTERRA oils. And then I met my now friend, Dr. Marisa Snyder, who was deep into the essential oil world. And she got me started on more of a complete starter kit and more oils for my hormones. So I definitely have hormone problems just like everyone else. And that's really when I started to use them. So frankly, the more you have, the more you're going to use. When you have like a little medicine cabinet of oils, you'll go in there and say, okay, I have a cold, I can't sleep, what can I use? So I really encourage people to, get your hands on oils, on our oils, because they're the best too, because that's really like when it turns from theory to practice, is when you start smelling them and experiencing them, using them in your daily life. So a little bit about my hormone journey. From a young age, I had pretty painful periods. Luckily, I never was on birth control much because I don't tolerate it, but I always dealt with painful periods, ruptured cysts. I was afraid that I would have trouble getting pregnant when I wanted to become pregnant because of all my history. So I really studied fertility and hormones when I was becoming pregnant. And then I went on to do a lot of fertility work. I specialized in fertility for a few years because it's a pretty, big, influential, thing that can be very emotionally difficult. And it was really an honor to help those people, to help couples and women understand their hormones better in that time. But that background really let me understand hormones in general. And I eventually transitioned to more of like a general women's health practice. And now I'm doing toxins. I like to kind of keep it moving. But where was I going with this whole story? Oh yeah, I was working on my own hormones for my fertility, and it worked great. It worked beautifully. But then I was under a lot of stress. As you may know, I got exposed to toxic mold soon after around the time I had my son. So my hormones really went sideways. I was, spotting in my periods a lot. I was getting older, so I was getting into perimenopause. So in my own case, I think the challenge of having toxins in my body was very disruptive for my hormones. And it's been a journey to like figure out how to manage them. And it's a lot better. But if you're still cycling, it's like every month is like, a test. How well did you do? How'd your cycle turn out this month? And even if you're no longer cycling, you still have hormones and they still dominate a lot of things about how you feel. So if you're postmenopausal, this information is also valuable to you today. And we can take any questions about postmenopause as well. So if you'd like a better resource or like a more in-depth resource on hormones, this is Mariza's book that came out a few months ago, Essential Oils Hormone Solution. It's fantastic. You can get it on Amazon. Covers a lot of things we're going to touch on today, much more in depth about, detoxing and weight loss and self-care routines. There's a ton of blends in there. I know people love essential oil blends, so this is a great resource. And here's Mariza and her mama. She tells a lot of stories about her mom and helping her through her mom through perimenopause and menopause. And here's some of the oils that we're going to focus on today. So, some of you are more advanced, some of you are beginners. But the nice thing about doTERRA is they've already blended a lot of oils that work very effectively, that really have gotten all the research, very consistent in their smell anytime you buy a bottle, and really work to get results for you. So, we could talk about 50 different oils, but it's a lot. So I'm going to start with these core blends that really get great results. And you can always add things to your order or, customize things, but we're going to kind of focus on these 5. And we'll also talk about hormones, in general, and some protocols. So have your hormones been hijacked? Probably. You feel hijacked when your hormones are off, right? Here's some of the symptoms you may feel. Frequent headaches, can't lose weight, gaining weight for no reason, ups and downs with your energy, no sex drive, sex is painful, moody, anxious, vaginal dryness, hot flashes. So, I would look at this list. Which are you feeling? You're feeling fatigued, feeling wired, feeling anxious, can't sleep many nights, hot flashes or night sweats. Often we talk about hot flashes and night sweats as the big hormonal symptoms, but there's actually so many hormonal symptoms. Acne, somebody talked about missed periods or thin periods. There's lots of ways that hormone imbalance manifests. So for me, when my hormones are off and I'm spending days like in PMS, I'm not treating the people in my life right, and then I feel bad about it, or, I don't have the energy to do my work, and, it's kind of a drag. So there's lots of ways that hormonal imbalance affects us. If we don't get a good night's sleep, we'll often crave, sweets and carbs and make bad choices, and then we're gaining weight. So it really can put us on a roller coaster where we just don't feel our best. So let's talk a little bit about what essential oils are and how they work. So these are natural aromatic compounds found in plants. They can be found in many parts of plants, and they are distilled in a natural process, usually with water. These aromatic compounds are separated out and captured into these, what we call essential oils. So this wasn't the way that plants were used, 2,000 years ago, but plants are certainly used, right? They're more like put into an oil base or made into a tea or made into a poultice, that kind of a thing. But essential oils, are so concentrated because of the way that they are harvested, or however you want to say it, that they can be 20 to 70 times more powerful than dried herbs. So, a couple drops of an oil for sleep versus, a tea for sleep, that oil is much more powerful and much more fast acting. They're pretty complex, so they have a lot of different compounds, some of which we know about, terpenes and this kind of thing, and some of it which we probably don't even fully understand yet. But there's studies being done, and doTERRA does a lot of study about how these compounds and oils interact with the cell at the cellular level. And this is where purity really matters, because if an oil has been adulterated to add an active ingredient, or it has, perfume, or it has pesticide residue, it's not going to act the same in your body. So let's do a little myth busting. If you use an essential oil every day, you don't get used to it. You still, how can I say? You still react to it every time, and you may actually react better because now your body has a memory. So you're like, oh, you smell a smell, and you're like, oh, not only is it going to lower cortisol, but it's going to remind you this is a smell we smell before we go to sleep. Another little myth busting, I had this question before we came on, was like, what about, are these oils putting estrogen into me because I already have high estrogen? They don't work this way. They're not hormones. They're adaptogenic herbs. So they work with the body, and you'll see that one oil can have a different effect on a different case depending on where your body's at. So you don't really have to worry about, there's been some false reporting in the news. Like, for instance, there was some reporting that lavender caused like breast growth in boys. They took some kind of extract of lavender in like a petri dish, and they're like, look, it grew estrogen. And if you actually look at the articles, like in the science, like it's pretty bad, and it's really just been sensationalized. Essential oils are kind of a hot topic, so things that create some controversy are also a hot topic. They don't have estrogen in them. Or if little boys are growing boobs nowadays, it's more because of perfumes and synthetic things with estrogen in our environment rather than essential oils. So we will talk more about that, and you can ask questions too. And they really work at the cellular level, like I mentioned, the constituents do. I'll talk a little bit more how they work in the brain. And really, the chances of side effects are really quite low. You're not going to be thrown into like a greater hormone imbalance. There could be occasionally people who have an allergy to an oil or a skin allergy, but it's pretty rare. And I'm pretty chemically sensitive and have a history of mold, but I can tolerate every oil. And essential oil is about 250 drops per bottle for most bottles. So they're really affordable, right? You only need a couple drops per time, so you can use them multiple times. And you're often just replacing an oil once a year, once every 2 years. So it can be an initial investment, but they last a long time. You just got them, right? Once you got them, you got them. Here's a little bit more about how they work in the brain. So when we smell something, it goes right to this limbic area of the brain that controls like memories and feelings. So that's why it can work so quickly, and why it's such a powerful tool for stress and emotional balance and mood, because it works so quickly and you don't have to like think about it. It just goes to work on an area of your brain that triggers, release and relaxation and forgiveness. And it's pretty incredible. So I wanted to spend a little extra time on this slide. I hope you can see it okay because it's a bit small, but I want to give you some education on different smells and oils and how they act in your body. So on the top there, we see mints. Mints are energizing, but they can also be calming. So you may have peppermint at home and use it for headaches. That would be one use. You can use it to cool hot flashes, actually. You can use it for a fever. But it's in an oil we're going to see in a minute called Motivate, because it's kind of a pickup. And moving to the right, we have citrus oils, which is also in the one we're going to see called Motivate. Citrus oils are uplifting. So this includes orange and lemon. And they just make you feel more at peace, kind of a sense of release, but also can be energizing. So mixing those two, as we'll see in a minute, can be a really powerful combination to lift you up and kind of give you a more expansive energy. So that's something you use in the morning, right? Or the daytime or the afternoon slump. You wouldn't as much use if you go across to the other side where it says trees and woods. These are grounding and balancing. So you wouldn't use a grounding and balancing scent if you want to pick up, right? So these concepts can be kind of new at first, but they become clear to you and your body once you start playing around with them and using them. In a simple sense, like sometimes you need an upper, sometimes you need a downer, right? Sometimes you just got wound up because of somebody cut you off in traffic, or you just had an argument, and you need to be calmed down. That's the lowering cortisol aspect. So things that are more rooty and grounding, like roots and barks, are usually in that category of like grounding, lowering cortisol, and calming. However, some flowers can also lower cortisol. So you see flowers on the upper left. Florals are, very sweet smelling and can give you a sense of peace and calm. So that can lower cortisol as well. If you think about smelling a rose, in your yard, you feel peaceful, right? So florals can bring that in, but you can also mix it with like a more grounding, woody smell. And then on the bottom are herbs and grasses. It says comforting and soothing. I really like these kind of pine smells. I think that they're very comforting, and they can also be great for opening up your lungs on a physical level. So for things like asthma, they can kind of help open me up. They have like this, they have this, you see on the bottom is the example is a Forgive oil, which has some pine kind of smell. And it's just, it's intended to just help you let go of things. And it has this kind of calming energy that kind of helps you let go. So the last one we're going to talk about is spices on the lower right. It says renewing and intriguing. That's one way to put it. Also can be warming for things like digestion, or warming for things like sex drive. So those are often, blended in digestive formulas or kind of grounding formulas. The one they're showing here is Passion, which is kind of a warming floral oil meant for like creative energy and sex drive and that kind of a thing. So some of these oils featured are not in our talk today, but they can, be added in or purchased later. We did do a webinar on emotional essential oils that was really lovely, and we focused on these 6. So I'm going to keep going, but if you have any questions about anything I've talked about so far, you can put it in the chat and I will read it later. So how to use oils. There's basically 3 ways. The simplest is sniffing. You can sniff right out of the jar, like in this picture. You can put some on your pressure points on your wrist and sniff it that way. You can put some on a tissue on your pillow. You can use a diffuser. So there's lots of ways to use it aromatically. And again, it goes right to your brain to help kind of change the messaging that your body is experiencing. Topically is also a great way. It's probably the way I use the most. About 60% of it gets absorbed through your skin. And plus you're kind of smelling it once it's on your skin. So a lot of the ones that we're going to talk about today, you can use topically. There's only a handful of oils that are sort of too hot to use topically on their own. An example would be like oregano. It's kind of a spicy, hot oil, so you want to use it with a carrier oil. But we're not really talking about any of those today. So some, but not all oils can be used internally, in water or in a capsule. So on doTERRA, if the bottle has a label that says supplement facts, that means it's can taken internally like a supplement. If it doesn't say that, it's not meant for internal use. So in this talk, we're really not talking about internal use so much. I mostly use internal use stuff for food cravings, digestion, that kind of thing. But you can do things like in capsules, and doTERRA sells some capsules as well. So here's a few ideas for how to use it, in a bath, rubbing it on your hands and smelling it, just to give you some ideas. The little kits I'm going to mention today do not come with a diffuser, but there are other kits that do come with a diffuser. So if you're wanting to get a diffuser all at once, I can maybe direct you to a kit that includes a diffuser plus some of the oils that we're going to mention today. So you can reach out for me about that, or maybe I'll put it in the notes after this talk. Okay, so let's get into a little bit more specifics about how to use oils. This is some suggestions from Marisa. How to take care of your hormones, eating right, sleeping well, right? Doing little things throughout the day to calm you and improve your mood. So again, we're mostly going to talk about some pre-blended oils like you see on the right, but there's lots of recipes that you can make yourself. This one on the left has lavender, which someone mentioned that they use. Lavender lowers cortisol. I think all three of these oils on the left lower cortisol. Bergamot also is calming, and ylang ylang is one of my favorite oils. It is in some of the ones we mentioned. It's so amazing for your sex drive and making you just feel like kind of restored. So I use it in a body oil with the oil called Forgive, and that's sort of like my little custom blend that I like a lot. And again, once you kind of you get some books and you get some more oils, you can have fun making your own blends, making little gifts for people. I have a friend with 4 kids, and she was very resistant to getting into doTERRA, like she doesn't have time type of thing. But eventually she had a need for something for her son and started to get into the oils, and now she loves them. She orders every month. They make blends for people. So yes, you could say like, this is just going to take up more of my time, but you could also just say, this is kind of something that's joyful and relaxing and something you can do as a family or do with friends. So just start where you're at with whatever time you have, and just be open to the idea there is a lot to do in the essential oil world that is really fun. Okay, here's a few oils. Whoops, why is this here? For sleep, that we'll talk about in a minute. It can be part of your routine. And then before we get into more oils, just a little bit about hormonal imbalance. So we're going to mostly talk about low progesterone, high estrogen, low estrogen. And, some poor habits can contribute to all of these. I think they've basically disproven that stress hormones like rob you of sex hormones, but there is sort of a relationship there, and how your body reacts to stress, and how it affects your hormone production as a woman or a man. So some signs of low progesterone, are these. For myself and my body, it's spotting between periods or feeling like your period's going to come early or it does come early, and then having PMS. But low progesterone is a very common hormonal issue for women. of many ages. So just kind of look that over. And an oil blend for low progesterone is this Clary Calm, which has clary sage. That's an oil we wrote about in the blog earlier this week. It's a superstar oil for women and hormones. But this is also mixed with some other nice things. That geranium lowers cortisol. The ylang-ylang we talked about is very restorative and good for sex drive. The fennel is kind of warming, and this Vitex at the bottom is not available as a single oil, but we know it as a herb that can help balance hormones through the hypothalamus pituitary axis. So that's in there too. So that can be great for hormone production. So as you're going to see in a minute, this oil can balance progesterone, but it can also do other things, because it's not a hormone, it's just an adaptogenic herb blend. So some signs of high and low estrogen are here. Many women think they have high estrogen, and they do not. They just have low progesterone. So some women do have high estrogen, but really, in my opinion, you can't really tell that for sure without a lab test. A lab test is best for all of this if you're really struggling with issues, and we do offer that testing. But as you see, like if you just are not sure what's causing what, we can use some of these oils, and there's no harm of it taking you in the wrong direction. They're just balancing. So high estrogen can be like heavy periods, weight gain in your breasts, lumps of our various sorts, lumps in your breasts, or like fibroids on your uterus. And then low estrogen can be night sweats and vaginal dryness, that type of thing. So guess what we're using for it again? We're using this Clary Calm again, because it's hormone balancing and cortisol lowering. So no matter which of these things you suspect you have, you can actually use the same oil. No matter if you're 35 or 55, you can use the same oil. It's pretty interesting. I really encourage you to use it at least twice a day over the uterus and ovaries, kind of lower abdomen, at least twice a day. It's medicine. Maybe shouldn't use that word, but it's like medicine. So you have to use it often. You can't just use it when you're feeling bad. You have to use it all the time. Let me go back to this one. So there's some other things we'll talk about that are complementary to it. So another oil that's in what we call our hormone trio is Motivate. A really common symptom with hormonal imbalance is feeling tired, feeling depressed. So Motivate gives you a pickup. So whereas the last one I said, use it every day, use it for a long time. Motivate you can really just use as needed in the moment when you're feeling like you don't want to do your work, you're tired, you're feeling negative. We all go through those moments. But if you do use it every day, it can help restore neural connections in your brain, believe it or not. So if you're having trouble with like short-term memory or recall, I would use it every day. This is a roll-on, so you use it along like the hairline or back of the neck is usually where I use it. It's also great for headaches because of the mint in it. So, and it has some basil, which is good for pain. So it's pretty complex blend. It's like citrusy and sweet and minty all at the same time. It's really lovely. So some of these only come in a roll-on, like the Clary Calm, and then some of these I selected in a roll-on for you because you're generally going to use them topically, and they're more affordable this way for when you're just getting started. And the third oil in our kind of hormone starter trio is Balance. So we talked earlier about grounding versus floral versus, mints and that kind of a thing. This is kind of a mix of, I would say, floral and woodsy kind of grounding. So it has a grounding aspect, but it also has a very light floral aspect too. So it kind of gives you peace, but also grounds you. So this is a great oil to use before bed, or to just use in the day when you're feeling anxious, maybe you come home from work, just when you need to feel like, feel calmed down. And these two we call like the sleep add-ons because you can add it to the hormone trio for sleep, but you can also use them in the daytime because they're just calming. They have some similar ingredients, all three of these, but there's just a little different property. So the peace can be very deeply calming, like an anxiety attack or anxious children. And then the Serenity is like a little more floral and light, but this Serenity is my favorite for sleep. My son actually mixes the two of these in his diffuser, and that's his favorite thing to do. So this piece is actually a roll-on, not really meant for a diffuser, but the Serenity you could use in a diffuser. And again, just that piece oil is a spendy oil, so we gave it to you in a roll-on to kind of save money. But if it's an oil you love, you could always get it in the oil and put it in a diffuser. Here's some of the ingredients in the Peace Touch. So it has some grounding things. It has a very interesting kind of smell. I think it's maybe the marjoram in there. It's just a very interesting, almost like peppery little bit of a smell. And here's a Serenity. It's very floral and light and a really beautiful scent. So I like to tell a story. I once was trying to catch a plane, and I was totally running late, and I hadn't packed, and I just finally got on the plane, and I was so flustered. And I remembered I had Serenity in my little travel case, and I took a few deep breaths just out of the bottle, I think, maybe put some on, and I just fell asleep. I fell asleep on a plane in the afternoon because I just needed it, and that just put me in a different mode. So you might have to sometimes pair these things with taking a bath, reading, turning down the lights, but little by little your body's going to start responding to that, maybe dramatically like with me, and maybe it just has to become part of your nighttime routine to layer in with other things. Here's kind of a summary of these 5 oils and how you can use it. Again, Marisa's recommending using Claricalm 3 or 4 times a day. So I would follow that if you're really dealing with some symptoms, and motivation kind of for as needed. Balance, she says, 2 times a day for cortisol and insulin. Serenity kind of as needed or every night at bedtime, and same for peace. So as we saw here, these oils have a lot in them. So it just saves money to just buy the ones that are already blended. Just a few more tips about, supporting your hormones is just eating right, exercising, drinking lots of water, taking breaks to reset. So I want to tell you a little bit more about the oils. And just as a reminder, if you came, it's probably because you're having, not enough periods, or you're, what were some other things people said in the beginning? Needing some lowering of cortisol, having trouble with sleep, having trouble with mood. It's basically all we're talking about today, right? This is like most women, and there's some men on here too. This is most people in modern life. So I really love this kit because it's sort of what we need the most. So we created a custom doTERRA kit just to help you get started. And this is what it has in it: Balance, Claricalm, and Motivate. And, it's not a huge price point. It's actually $98. And we give you a bunch of bonuses. But like I said, you really have to have oils to start experiencing the oils. So get your hands on some oils. doTERRA does have 30-day money back if for some reason you don't like it. I know you're going to like it, because why wouldn't you? But yeah, just for that peace of mind. And we do offer training, and we send you some materials. So I'll talk about those in a minute. But we just want to create a really affordable, effective way for you to get started And these are some of the most effective oils. You can always buy more. We'll talk about that as well. So this is Mariza's Hormone Rescue Guide, and it has some essential oil blends and some recipes. It's really lovely. So no matter where you live in the world, we'll send you this as a gift for buying the Hormone Rescue Kit. And that's like an ebook. If you live in the US, we'll also send you some guides. This is just 2 pictured, but I actually send you more than this. So you can have some things to flip through and learn more, learn how to use oils, learn how to treat different conditions in your family. And again, if you're in the US, I'll send you some samples of the pain cream and the toothpaste. And I'll send you also this month a sample of Slim and Sassy. Slim and Sassy is an amazing blend for weight loss and just craving management. So I'm like a person who craves sugar after lunch, like nobody's business. So that I use the oil right on my tongue, or they also make it in a gum. They have a whole, suite of products, but I'll give you a little sample because many women and men in midlife are kind of struggling with their metabolism changing and losing weight. And that's sort of a hormonal issue too, right? So we'll give you this hormonal support to try out, which is a little sample of Slim and Sassy, and I'll give you some information on how to use it. You can also have a private call with me to talk about your symptoms and how to use your oils. I don't offer these for free anymore unless you're a customer, so I'd love for you to start with me. And you get a membership with that package as well. So you can get 25% off products for a whole year. And again, it's really just about having the tools there to manage your symptoms as needed, to manage your symptoms throughout the month. And if you just hang in with for me a minute, we'll get to questions in a second. But these are the oils again. You'll get a bunch of bonuses, probably more than I even just mentioned, because we send you a bunch of stuff. And it's $98, which is a great deal. You'll have to pay for your local tax and shipping, but it's not much. I always get the cheapest shipping, and it comes in like 4 days. So I just go for the cheapest shipping, which is like $4. And you have the option to add these sleep bundles, right? So we talked about these 2 options for sleep and anxiety. And I know someone mentioned in the beginning about having like compulsive behaviors. And really that's kind of like just an anxiety, right? So if we can lower that anxiety, that's a way to control moods. And often we can do it with deep breathing. So we're using an oil and we're doing some deep breathing, which is calming to the body. So you can kind of mix this, right, with other techniques, right? Going on a walk, meditating, and then using the oils as like a trigger to really increase the effect. So this is that kit all together. That's $150 if you add the sleep bundle. And you know what? I forgot to make a slide about this, but if you order this whole bigger bundle this month and then place what we call a loyalty order of 100 points next month, you get their doTERRA's vitamin pack, which is 3 daily vitamins for energy and multivitamins and stuff and good fat. So I totally forgot to make a slide about that, but I will include that in the notes. So that's like a little, every month they have some kind of perk. So the perk basically is this month, if you make an order and then make an order again next month, that you get this vitamin pack. So I'll include that. And again, there is a return policy. So, if you're feeling a little uncertain, or maybe you've had some experience with oils before that you weren't sure about, just know you have that for peace of mind, right? So I'm going to take questions, but I'm going to just put in the chat these 2 links as well. Whoops. 1 second, guys. Okay, I see some questions. Great. Oh, somebody couldn't see the slides. I hope that wasn't happening the whole time, but I think it was okay. Okay, give me 1 second, guys, because I want you to be able to see these links, and then I will come take some questions. Okay, so link 1 is Hormone Trio, the 3 oils. And then link 2 is, we'll say hormones plus sleep. I forgot to mention another benefit is we'll put you in, we have a couple things online to train you. So we have a private Facebook group called Minnows for when you're starting out. And then we have a oil camp that happens every month. So you can sign up for those if you're on Facebook to get more training. Okay. All right, let me take some questions. So Angela asked about oils for menopause. So basically, Angela, what we already mentioned is still good for menopause. Just still use every day. You still have female hormones. They're just being made more from your adrenals if you're postmenopausal. So just still use it in the same way. Let me know if you have any more specific questions. And that hormone rescue guide will have some things too, like you can use peppermint and water as like a spray for hot flashes. But that Clary-Calm is like the base of it. doTERRA also sells a capsule called phytoestrogen blend that you can take internally to like smooth out your estrogens. As you go into menopause, you go from using one type of estrogen to another as the type that you use for like your brain, and you have hormone receptors all over your body. So that transition can be a little rocky and you start forgetting things, right? Or just being like absent-minded. That's the change of estrogen. So you can try to smooth that out with the phytoestrogen or even the Motivate. We talked about that increasing your neural connections. So that's, one way that like your brain can feel like a little off. You can feel a little less sharp as you go through menopause. Lisa, hopefully you saw some things to lower cortisol in there. Again, some of the things are in the blend. Someone mentioned vetiver, that lowers cortisol. Lavender does. The balance, the peace, the serenity, they're all going to lower cortisol. Even the Clary-Calm will lower cortisol somewhat. Kaylee asked about hormone levels. Yeah, I didn't probably mention after you asked that, Kaylee. The best way is testing from our Dutch hormone test. I can put that link. Let me put that link in the notes too. I'm not here to sell the test, but if you really don't know and you've been dealing with stuff for a long time, sometimes it's just good to test. But if you're just trying to smooth things out and you don't want to pay for testing right now, then I would say try these oils. It's $98. So the coaching page has information on the hormone testing. I'll just put that in the notes. Okay. Yeah, Amanda, I'm recording this. Luckily, I remembered to push record, so I will save it. Can you use Motivate and Cheer together? 100%. Yep, you can. They just have a little different nature, right? Cheer is a little bit more uplifting for the mood. Motivate can motivate action a little more. It's good for headaches. So you can use them together, but you may just want to also choose what you need. I actually used some Cheer a couple hours ago because I just felt, I was having one of those mornings where things were kind of going wrong. I was being negative Nancy. And I was like, okay, let's try to look on the bright side. Let's use our Cheer oil. So Amanda is saying I gave to her niece who's 23. Yes, you can use it for younger women, really any age. A lot of the youngest women who are just getting their periods, the periods are pretty unstable when you're young. So you can use like the Clary-Calm for that. Tracy asked about Serenity, how and where to use it. So you can put some on your wrists and smell it. Since I kind of sleep on my side, then I can kind of smell it. You can put it on a tissue on your pillow. You can use it in a diffuser. You can use it in Epsom salts in a bath. So lots of options. The capsules, Amanda asked about, can you be more specific? So capsules, so doTERRA some capsules already prepared. Like Serenity comes in a capsule. I think Slim and Sassy comes in a capsule, that kind of a thing. Or you can make your own capsules. Some people do that. There's been some recipes going around about weight loss. They basically lower inflammation in your gut. Those are been really popular. So you can make your own. Some people do that. These come with directions. So yeah, so we'll give you that hormone rescue book, and that can help. Or you can rewatch this for some information. We had some tips on how to use it. If it seems overwhelming, I'd say, you know, put a little on your wrist and smell it. Put a little on your temples and smell it. You don't want to put stuff near your eye, like the Motivate would irritate your eye itself. So just use it like on your hairline. Or sometimes I put stuff just under my nose, you know, back of the neck. Most of these oils are for smelling. They're really not for gut health or anything. They're for smelling. So you want to be able to smell them. Are we going to have a replay? We will send out the recording, Sherry, but I don't think we'll have like another live one. Not this month anyway. Amanda, if you already have an account, you can go into your own account and order anything that you want to order. Just log into your own account. What if we're using bioidentical hormones? It shouldn't really be a conflict. They should sort of complement each other. Now, the longer you use bioidenticals, sometimes the way they affect you can start to change. That's definitely happened for me and some of my clients. So if you feel like your bioidenticals aren't working as well as they used to, talk to your doctor, prescribe them about taking a break or changing the dosage. Can a blood test be used for hormone testing? Yes, but it's not as good in my opinion. It's the more traditional way to use it. You can do on like day 3 of your cycle, day 21 of your cycle. But it's just measuring the hormones in a different way. And that's why I prefer the urinary hormone testing. I put in a link about it, but let me add one more link that goes right to it. And this hormone test will not only tell you about your estrogen and progesterone, but it'll tell you about your cortisol, your melatonin, your testosterone, a bunch of stuff, B vitamins, neurotransmitters. So Tracy is asking, oh, sorry, Karen, there's a link not working for you. Let me go look. I don't want you to give you guys a broken link. So the wholesale customer thing, the first time you get that, it's $35. So we just build that into the package. And these links are supposed to be, giving you just exactly what you need so that you get the oils you want already in the cart plus the wholesale membership. So if you are like Amanda and you already have an account, just go in your own account, log in under doTERRA and order. If you're a new customer, okay, so Tracy and Karen, here is the link again for the Hormones Plus Sleep. That's $150. I'm just giving you a longer link. And then I'm going to give you, I'm testing these links before I give them to you. These are for the US. If you're outside the US, please email me. I can't make a custom link for another country, but I can help you find your country's website or give you another way to. So these just say on the bottom, it says sign up now. You click that button and it'll get you started. Whoops. Oh, wait, I'm going to take that last one out because I think it might not work. Sure, Margaret, I can talk more about how to use Cheer. Cheer comes in a roller ball or a loose oil. It also comes in a starter kit called like the Essential, what's it called? Or Aromatherapy Diffused Kit. So if you're really interested in those mood oils, you can also reach out to me. I can help you with that. So Cheer is a little bit warming and a little bit citrus, and it's just very uplifting for depression, grief, or just like PMS, or just like not in the mood, right? For the day you're, sometimes we're just, we're just not, we're not in a good mood. Sorry, I keep giving you trouble with these links. Let me do this again. There we go. Sorry, guys. Amanda uses on her heart for sadness. That's really beautiful. Yeah. I also love the oil called Console for sadness. It's amazing. It's very like flowery and comforting. Not flowery, it's like powdery. So yeah. Whoops. Let me see if I can take out this comment. Yeah, so I hope that helps, Margaret. Again, if you want to, let me do a screen share real quick. I'll show you how to do some things in your, and then I see there's some questions somewhere else. So here's like, for example, the link with the sleep bonuses or the sleep additions. You just push this green sign up now, and it's gonna walk you through getting your name and stuff like that, making a password, just basic stuff. I can't click through to it because I'm not there, but you can, you're gonna usually just skip selecting a kit. And then you're gonna go to adding other products. So if you wanted to add, you know, you wanted to add cheer, you can just put cheer in the search bar and add it. Or if you know, you do wanna switch it up and add the emotional aromatherapy, you can add that kit instead of paying the $35 and then add in some hormone things. So you can do that on your own. It's not impossible, but you can also, you know, email me and say, Bridget, can you make me a custom kit with cheer, this, and this, and I'll send you that link. And then if you live in Canada or another country, just reach out to me. I like these kits because they make it faster for you to order, but I cannot make them for every country. However, you can order and have an account in almost every country. One thing that's a little different is that, I know it always populates this one person, is that the different gifts and bonuses in different countries. So for instance, right now in the US, I mentioned if you buy 100 points of product and then do that again next month, you get these 3 vitamins for free. That's right here, these vitamins. They're really good quality. You know, I'm kind of a vitamin snob. But if you're in New Zealand, you're going to have a different deal. It's just different for different countries. But just a little something to know. But I hope this visual helps. Here's the small kit, right? The $98, and then you do the same thing. You just push sign up now and then follow the prompts. Does that help? No, Tracy, the membership's built in to each kit. So even at the $98 kit, you're getting the membership plus the 3 oils. The only thing you have to pay on top is shipping and tax, which is like $7. So it's not bad. Yeah. Oh, okay. There's a couple more questions I will take here. So Rebecca asked, she already has a lot of single oils. Rebecca, I would buy Marisa's book because it has a lot of blends in it. So I would do that. It's called Essential Oils Hormone Solution, I think. And it's a really great book. It's a great resource for every woman, and there's a lot of blends inside of there. Yeah. Sherry, I'm sorry you couldn't see the slides. I'm not sure what was going on. Maybe you're on your, I don't know, probably some setting wasn't set right on your phone or something like that. Margaret's asking about using it on acupuncture points. Yeah, so there's a bunch of study about this, Margaret. There's a teacher I used to study with called Jeffrey Yuen, and he would use them on acupuncture points. So to be honest, like they work in a lot of ways. I don't think they have to be on the point. You know, you can just smell them or use them on the stomach or whatever, but you can use them on the point. So according to him, there is like it's an entry point, right, to the meridian. And so he will use specific oils on specific points. So I think you can do that just based on your knowledge. Like say you want to, trying to think of a good example. Well, like the digestive oil on the digestive points, or like the balance oil maybe on like some kidney points because it's like grounding. I think on the kidney points would be amazing to do like vetiver or cedarwood that are super grounding. To do that would be, I think, really cool. So I don't know. I'm sort of like a person who just likes to make stuff up. So I would just use like your knowledge you already have of Chinese medicine and okay, how does this oil work? And just use it like that. But you can also look up Jeffrey Yuen's work. Margaret asked also, how do you instruct women to use it at home? Yeah, it's kind of same way. I mean, I did that today, you know, using it on your wrist, smelling it out of the bottle, putting it on a tissue. Um, it doesn't need to be fancy. They just need like one way. Or you could say, yes, use it on this certain point. If you're going to use it to smell, I wouldn't put it on your ankle points because you can't smell it. So I would make it somewhere where they can smell it for these particular oils we talked about today. Okay, I have a question from Mia and Cheryl. So first I'm going to take Cheryl's. The kit, yes, I'm sorry if I made it confusing. So there's 2 kits. The first is the Hormone Trio kit with a full-size balance oil, a Motivate Touch, and the Clary Calm. So it's sort of female hormone balancing, calming and centering, and motivating and uplifting. That's $98. It has all the bonuses as long as you live in the US. I've just found to send a package to like New Zealand is like crazy. I can't afford it. So if you don't live in the US, contact us for the right link and we'll give you at least the ebook. It's very good. And it has oil blends and recipes and stuff like that. If you're in the US, you get all the things. For either kit, you get all the things. If you get the second kit, it's the 3 oils, again, Clary Calm, Motivate Touch, and Balance. And then you add in the sleep oils, sleep anxiety oils, Peace Touch, and Serenity. So that's $150. And then, again, they both include a membership. You don't have to add that separately. It's in there. And then that also qualifies you to get like free vitamins next month should you go that way. So I can talk to everyone about that later who buys that kit so we don't confuse you, but it does have some perks. And then Nia asked about hair loss. So we just wrote an article about hair loss. Because some of these oils, like you can't put on your hair, you may want to add some other oils for the hair loss. Let me get you that link. So some of these oils low cortisol, lower stress hormone, right? And that's a way to balance your hormones, including perhaps for your hair. But if you want to regrow your hair, I suggest putting some oils like peppermint and rosemary right on your hair because it's opens up the follicles and helps hair growth. And then I talk about some oils for thyroid also that can support hair growth as well. Okay, here's that hair loss article, Nia. And if anybody didn't read the article about clary sage that we just wrote, that's a key ingredient in the Clary Calm. It might help you understand it a little better and know that it's not gonna throw your hormones off, right? That one's here. Sherry, yeah, that's a great question. So doTERRA's bonus cycle happens monthly. So today is the 29th. So I just ask you to order by the 31st, which is Friday, right? So it's easier if you just buy it now so we don't hit up until the deadline. And then I can get your, stuff out to you quickly. But just ask you to buy by Friday because that makes you, eligible for doTERRA bonuses and stuff. And it just helps me keep track of you. So if you order 3 weeks from now, it's like, harder to keep track of giving you all the bonuses and stuff. Okay. Amanda, if you already have an account, you already have a discount, right? You have a wholesale account, you get 25% off. If you don't, if you have a retail account, you might want to look into ordering a wholesale account. I hope that makes sense. You can ask me about it. Marisa's book, says Lisa, is great, and she's used many of her roller blends, spritzers, and diffusers blends. Love her liver blend, quiet your mind blend, and uplifting room spritz. A must for any woman experiencing hormonal stress, and love her green energy smoothie. Oh, that's so great. Yeah, it's a great book. It's a really helpful book if you're ready to take it to that next level. For those of you who are. For those of you just getting started, you know, just start with these 3 to 5 oils. Just get familiar with how oils smell and how to use them, and maybe get the book next. Okay, Nia said, oh, Nia, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't get your question. So Nia, I would recommend the Motivate oil. That's a great oil for exactly what you're describing. And Marisa said she's loving the book too. She just got it for Mother's Day. Kaylee asked about the Dutch hormone test and using supplements. So yeah, Kaylee, basically if you run a Dutch hormone test with us, I do a half an hour interpretation with you of what your test is and give you recommendations. Sometimes I recommend oils or doTERRA supplements, and sometimes I recommend our own. Frankly, one factor is if people want oils and have a doTERRA account. If they don't have any account and they're not that interested, I'll just recommend supplements. But if you already have a doTERRA account, you're already using some oils, some supplements, I get clients like that too, and we just work it in. So I love the Lifelong Vitality Pack. Those are doTERRA's vitamins. They really are great quality, and I would not say that if I didn't believe it. I have read every ingredient. So if you're already taking that and we have a hormone consultation, I'll probably just leave you on it. You know, I have some people doing their energy supplement. I have my own, but if they have a great one too. So yeah, it just depends on the client. It's very personalized for every client. Great. Any other questions? This was a really fun one. Really appreciate all the activity. Amanda asked when to use the Clary Calm. Is it all throughout the month? Yes, use it all throughout the month. Sometimes I'll take a few days off around my period just to, I don't know, just to let my body have a reset. But then I use it the whole rest of the month. I actually personally use Clary Sage like straight out of the bottle quite a bit. I mentioned in our recent article, I've been using it for frequent urination, and it's like really helping. Like I'm not getting up to pee at night and stuff like that. But the Clary Calm is excellent, and then you just roll it on your uterus area. Like Marisa said, maybe 3 to 4 times a day if you're really having hormonal issues, because you've got to get that information into your system repeatedly, not just once a day. Great, thank you, Margaret. I appreciate it. Okay, Amanda, I think I answered your question on all that. Sorry, the links are a little janky. I will put them in the follow-up email, so you'll probably get one of those tonight or tomorrow, and then again Friday, because I know people can miss emails, so we'll make sure you have it. Neos was saying she was late. Yeah, Nia, I will upload the recording now. We hopefully will get it to you tonight, but if not, tomorrow. And again, by Friday, I ask you to order just so I can keep track of everyone. You can get all your bonuses. So if you have any questions or you need a custom order, let me know. But these links make it pretty easy to, okay, I know I want these 3, and now maybe I'll add in a cheer. Cheers seem very popular today. So yeah, you can hopefully get in there and customize it as needed, or just start with the 3 things or 5 things, because you can always order more. I'm going to send you some educational materials. Maybe you'll buy the book, and then you can just build on it, right? So you don't need if it's going to paralyze you, I'd rather you just get started, that kind of a thing. Thank you, Jeanette. I appreciate all you ladies. I think there's maybe one guy on here. Tracy's asking, should I try one at a time? Yeah, I would start with one at a time and then see what you like. I will also mention that over time, your preferences can change. I don't know why, but I didn't use Balance for a long time. I just used Serenity, and then I wanted to switch. I honestly did not like the smell of Peace for a long time, and then I did. I think your body just tells you what it wants when it wants it. It just seems there's just some intuitiveness that comes once you have the oils. So if you get the Peace Touch and at first you're like, meh, just hold on to it, I would say, because there's going to be a time you probably want it again. Okay. Thank you again, everybody. I will get the links out to you and the recording out to you very soon. Bye.